Hey guys, today we're going to be setting up Apache 2 virtual host. And if you have multiple websites on your local machine and you're visiting them through like localhost slash mysite1 or localhost slash mysite2, this is going to allow you to set up local domains for your sites so that you can go to mysite1.local and mysite2.local, etc. It's helpful to keep your websites organized and have a URL structure that's similar to the production environment. So let's go ahead and get started. There are a couple extra steps for setting it up for Windows Subsystem for Linux. That was a little bit tricky when I first set these up. So I'm going to go over it with you, and hopefully you won't have any of the same troubles that I did. The first thing that we're going to want to do is to update our host file. And when we're using WSL, we have to edit our host file on Windows and edit our host file on Linux. Both of them have to contain the same information. So we'll go ahead and edit our Windows host file first. So we're going to want to open Notepad and we're going to want to run it as administrator. And you have to run it as administrator because we're going to be editing the host file, which is a system file. So make sure you're running as administrator. Then go to File, Open, and then you're going to need to find your host file. It's going to be in the C drive, then Windows, then System32, then Drivers, then etc. It'll probably show a blank screen here, right here where it says Text Documents. Click on All Files. You'll see your host file. It doesn't have a file extension, it's just host. You'll click Open and open that. Since I have kind of sensitive information about the sites I work on in there, I have went ahead and opened this and went to the bottom and added some extra lines. So you may already have some entries in there. You'll just scroll down to the bottom and add an additional entry for our local site. So we're going to want to type our localhost IP address, which is 127.0.0.1, and then a space, and then our local domain name. So it would be mysite1.local or whatever your site name is, .local. You could use .com here, but if you do that, when you visit the .com version of your site, you'll be taken to your local host. You'll never be able to see the actual .com version of your site on this machine. So I think it's best practice to name your local sites .local. That way you can maintain your URL structure, but you can easily differentiate between local and live. And one of the tips I'll give you for this is I had to add this line to make it work on WSL. It's : :1 space and then the same site name again. So mysite1.local. And that's it. You'll add these two lines to your Windows host file. You'll go to File, Save, and then you can close that. And we've set up our host file for Windows. The next thing we'll want to do is set up our host file on Linux. So open your WSL instance. Once you're in there, you're going to want to edit the etc/host file. So I'm going to use vim here. Sudo vim etc host. I already had it open, so I'll click edit anyways. And we're going to want to add those same lines that we added on Windows to this Linux host file. So I'll click I for insert mode, and I'll go down to the bottom, make some new lines, and we'll put the same information there that we added on Windows. So our local IP space, the site, local site domain, and then : :1 space local site domain, and that's it. We'll go to escape to exit insert mode, right quit. So we now have both of our host files, the information added to both of our host files. So we're good there. We can go ahead and set up our Apache configuration file. And you're going to want to do this in the sites available folder. So we'll do cd etc Apache 2 sites available. If we see what's in this folder, we can see that we have the defaults. We haven't set up any additional virtual host. So we're going to want to create a conf file for our new local domain. So we'll do sudo vim mysite1.local.conf. Okay, so now we're adding content to that conf file. I'll go to insert mode, and we'll add a virtual host container here, all on port 80. If we were using SSL, this would be port 443, and I'll show you how to do SSL in an upcoming video. But for right now, we're just using port 80, which is HTTP. Oops, this shouldn't have an S on it. Type our server admin. So for every local domain, you can have your server admin be the same thing. We'll just put webmaster at localhost. And then we'll have the server name. This is an important directive because this is what you visit in your browser. And it should be the same thing that you put in your host file. So we'll put mysite1.local here. And document root var www.html mysite1. All right, and then we'll add a directory directive for that root directory. And we'll add options, indexes, follow symlinks, allow override all, all granted, directory. Then we'll end our virtual host. You could set up additional directives in there if you want to, like error logging. But for right now, this is fine. So we'll go ahead and escape insert mode and save the file. All right, so we just created our comp file for our new virtual host. We already have the site content set up in our folder. So now what we need to do is enable the comp file that we just created inside Apache. To do that, we'll type sudo a2insite mysite1.local.conf. Right, looks like that was successful. If you had like syntax errors in your configuration file, it would tell you here. So supposedly we didn't. We just need to reload Apache. So sudo systemctl reload Apache 2. All right, looks like that was good. And now the moment of truth, you'll want to visit that URL in your browser. In my last video, set up a fresh WordPress installation, so when we visit that here, it should be available to us. So we'll do http:// and it works. Here's my WordPress installation. We're on mysite1.local. Like I said in a future video, I'll show you how to set up SSL, so you could go to HTTPS. But yeah, so you would want to repeat this process for every site that you have in your localhost folder. Hopefully there's not too many for you. It's a little bit of a tricky process, so I hope this video helped you. If it did help, leave a comment, like, subscribe, let me know. If you need additional help, leave a comment, and I'll see it as soon as I can. But thanks for watching.